Welcome to the wine and food experience. So the deal here is, what if, the big what if foods and flavors in general would alter or change your experience of a wine? So we're suggesting the idea here as a concept to explore that wine is simply an ingredient that is part of a dish. So from that perspective, we're going to look at different flavors here. So what we've got here is we've got fat as a flavor element, we've got tart or acidic as a flavor element, we have heat, spice, we've got sweet, and we've got earth, or an earthy element, which is a big part of wine. In wine geek talk, a lot of times you'll hear people say that they prefer a fruity wine, or they prefer an earthy wine. So we're going to play with how this one wine, Gurgitch Hill's Fumé Blanc, tastes on its own. And then we're going to try it with all these different just single elements and see how it changes our experience of this wine. To help us now with this adventure, as we travel through different flavors and seeing how it alters our experience of a wine, I'm going to call on my good friend and buddy, Samantha. So,
hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So let's get some wine going here. So our wine is Gurgitch Hill's Fumé Blanc. So we're going to pick on this little guy to help us out and see how all these different flavors are going to change our experience of this wine. So cheers. Let's see what we got trying this on its own. So nice medium-bodied white, really good acidity, zingy, fresh acidity, like a nice citrus.
Very citrusy.
Very citrusy. So straight away, what we're going to do right here, right now, is we're going for the king of citrusy.
Lemon.
Lemon. So, cheers.
All right.
To the tart. Wow, that's tart. Very tart. As tart goes, that's tart. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's there.
Okay.
See if it changes our experience of the wine. What do you notice?
It totally, like, kills the really tart, the really, really tart. They kind of, like, knock each other out.
So the reality here is the very tart lemon,
Right.
in the presence of the very tart wine, neither one tastes tart.
Right, it totally mellows it out.
Wine and pair rule number one, like goes with like. So what happens is when we have a very tart food or high acid food with a high acid wine, you try one after the other, and all of a sudden neither tastes tart. How many people do you know running around munching on a lemon with a big smile on their face? Not a whole heck of a lot. But 100 million people in the United States put lemon on fish where to not would be preposterous. What that's about is the tartness in one element with the fat in another element balances each other out. So we saw right here how the tartness of the lemon and the tartness of the wine in the presence of each other really made the wine taste not tart. Now, what we're going to do is work with the fat element, which in this case we're going to take a little bread
Thank you.
and dip it in a little olive oil. Cheers. And try the fat that's there. In this case, we'll see what happens now because we're taking one element in fat from the acidity that was in the wine before, mixing them together, and we're going to see how opposites in this case pair up. So let's see what this does to the wine. Well, for me, it really brought the acidity back, but in a much more balanced way. So the relationship between the two really stands out. What did you find?
It just, it made it much fuller in my mouth and kind of creamier, heavier.
Gave it more weight.
Exactly.
And it zinged it up a little bit.
It did, but it wasn't too tart. I mean, it was nice. It was pretty.
Cool. It's great.
Okay.
So that's how. So fat and acid together are opposites, and that's wine pairing rule number 2. So the first rule is like goes with like. And the second rule is opposites attract. Now the key in wine and food combining, though, beyond those two elements, is you have to match the weight. So a light wine will go with a light food. A heavy wine will go with a heavy food. Okay? Onward?
Onward.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to work with the earth element.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we have a little piece of mushroom here. And we also have two herbs. We have oregano and thyme. So let's take one of those herbs and put it on, dip the mushroom in it.
Oregano.
So, and I'm going to go for thyme. Okay, cheerio. Really nice earthy quality to it. Nicely rich, but not heavy. Rich in terms of flavor. There's a nice sense of that earthy kind of richness. Walking outside in the morning and going to work in the garden and get your hands in the dirt, that earthy richness. So let's try the wine again. Wow.
I mean, immediately, even just the aroma is more.
It lifted up higher.
Oh,
It came out like the earthiness of the herbs, the way they came out and reached us. In the wine, the aroma of the wine really came out and reached us.
I mean, it's just fuller. It's more. There's more levels. It's more textured.
And I find for the wine got really a little more exotic. There were layers. It had nice balance between different elements. It seemed much more like an orchestra. It really expressed itself in a really interesting, dynamic way. So I think of earthy flavors in this case as supporting an expanded way for the wine to show itself. So this earth element put into our mouths before the wine, it took the earth element of the wine and worked with that, and then the fruitiness of the wine and all the other elements were able to be like all these other flavors on top.
Right, much more complex.
Much more complex. So it's interesting, each of these so far has really changed our experience of this same wine. The acidity, the fat, the earth have all changed our experience of this one particular wine. So let's now go to sweet. So for sweet we have figs and red peppers. The different elements here are really interesting to see how they keep changing this wine. So let's see what happens with a little piece of red pepper.
And you might want some wine to actually try with the pepper.
You know, I like that idea.
Me too.
Good thinking. Good thinking.
Okay.
I'm actually going to grab a second piece to really get that flavor
Me too.
going there. So. Wow, that is totally different. What I love about this at this point is just how almost shockingly different it is after what we just did before.
Absolutely.
So the fruitiness of this kind of swallowed up, the fruitiness of the peppers kind of swallowed up the fruitiness of the wine. So what we're left with is an experience of a drier wine.
Absolutely.
And we get a nice textural feel to it, but it becomes a much drier wine. So the whole spice element and the whole fruit element in the wine have now been toned down. They feel more masked or hidden.
That's exactly what I would say.
So now we're going to work with the spice element here.
Okay.
And what we're going to do with that is we're going to take a piece of bread, we're going to dip it back in oil, and we've got two spice elements here. We have black pepper and cayenne pepper. So which would you like?
I'll go for cayenne pepper.
Cayenne?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you a little cayenne.
A little bit of spice.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
So I'll go for black pepper. We'll see what happens there.
Okay.
All right, ready?
I'm going in.
All right, here we go. See what happens. Cheers. So the fat and the spice with the bread. Funny, right on the nose, it lifts. There's a very high tone, like spice is direct there and has some power. There's a new aroma, or an aroma is coming out of the wine now that has some directness and power.
Oh!
Wow.
Pow!
Kapow, kaboom, kapow. It brought out all these other, the spiciness in the wine is now going woo.
Yeah.
So really comes out and reaches us. and adds a whole nother dimension. Really makes the wine interesting, dynamic, very dynamic.
Yeah, it's definitely a little punch.
Yeah. So it's really interesting here to think how then, I think the spice element and the earth element with this particular wine, with Grgich Fume, is really beautiful and dynamic. So what I would say is a little bit, if you have a bottle of Grgich Hills Fume Blanc, it could be great to do something that's got some fat, that's got a little spice, and has a little bit of earth, which can come in the form of wild mushrooms or herbs, and tone down any fruit element and tone down any extra acidity. And then you really allow this beautiful dancing wine that has this great sense of acidity, flavor, and just an orchestra of flavor.
Oh yeah, I'm already making recipes up in my head.
Which could show up on In the Kitchen, which will be on the Pairing channel. So this show, the Wine and Food Experience, is really geared to empower you to look at how foods and flavors can alter your experience of a wine. And then, to really help you explore that further, on the Pairing channel we have 3 shows with regular episodes. We've got In the Kitchen with Samantha, we've got Wine and Cheese with Beverly McKenzie, and we've got the Menu and the Wine List, where we'll be at a restaurant called Chateau Lynn, and we'll be pairing foods and wines from their menu and wine list and show you how to do that in your life. So we're really excited about just supporting you in thinking about the idea of what if wine was simply an ingredient that's part of a dish, and looking at wine from that perspective. Then the doorway opens to really understand natural wine, and that's what we're really all about here, is the community, the way things fit together, the harmony, the relationship between things. One nice tip for you before we go: if you find a wine that you open the cork, or whatever the closure top is these days, and you absolutely hate it, fret not. Do not toss it down the drain. Do not put it down and go away. Celebrate. Go to your fridge. Find the nearest food that has 0 sugar in it. Pop it in your mouth, taste away, chew, get that flavor. Once you've got that flavor going, try the wine again. If you did that 3 times, 90+% chance you will find a way that you absolutely love that wine. And that's a good reminder to just know that natural wine, conscious wine, the wines we're going to talk about and support, are really made to go with food. That relationship is something where each expresses itself at its best when they come together. So, thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Great to be here with you today.
You too.
Cheers. Have a great day, everybody.
Cheers.